Vicki Starfire is my guest. I'm your host, Lynda Wylde. Vicki is, she has a background in counseling, and she is a psychic and a medium as well, and she starts off all her readings with the Palmistry. And so she was telling me all about it, and I had to invite her to talk about it.
As Lynda said, I'm a palmist and also a medium, and also a healer. So I'd like to talk about all three things for a few minutes so that you understand the background there. And I had counseling training, and then I don't come from a long line of psychics. I got into this in a very unusual way. I was hit by lightning. Okay, and then I started to see and hear different things. And soon after that, I met a gypsy woman named Rosalind, and she became my palmistry teacher. So I was like her apprentice for, I guess it was over a year. And soon after that, I met a group of people who were traveling. It was a traveling theater called the Caravan Stage Company, and they traveled through BC in horse-drawn wagons. And one of the wagons was called Sally's Wagon, and it actually was a replica of a wagon that Sally, a palm reader, traveled through BC in the early 1900s. So I read palms from this wagon after their shows. And it became so popular that I had long lineups into the night. And I thought, I'm going to do this. So I moved back to Victoria, and I bought a small houseboat at Fisherman's Wharf. And I started to read from there. And it worked. It was successful. But, you know, it got to be the point where I was a tourist attraction.
Oh, okay.
And so people were knocking on the door in the middle of the night and things like this, you see. So it got to be kind of old, being a tourist attraction. And so I sold the houseboat and moved to Japan to start teaching English there. And that's where I learned healing. I learned Reiki in Kyoto, where it started. Okay, now, about 3 years ago, I took some training, and I was already communicating with my spirit guides, but I took some training to develop mediumship so that I could communicate with people who have passed over. And so I've also added that to my readings. And I ask people if they want to communicate with those who have passed over. Now, I'll tell you very honestly, I can't always reach them. I can sometimes reach someone who can give me a message, but the people that I do reach are so grateful. They really are. They say, oh, at last I can communicate with this person. I've been around for a long time already, and, you know, I can't get any communication with this loved one who's still here on Earth. So they're very grateful that communication is set up. So now what I'm trying to do is to spread kind of like a teaching, if you will, of how other people can also communicate. And I think that really, as far as mediumship goes, or psychic development, that everyone really can develop this. That it's a part of our right brain that we're really not using. And so that's my emphasis, if you will, at this point, is to help people develop that. So first of all,
you do that with Facebook Live as well.
That's
like
right.
At 3 o'clock on Tuesdays.
That's right. Yeah, from Whitby's Books, where I work, So I do that every Tuesday. And so please do tune in. And, you know, it's a different tip each week. So that's tomorrow.
And you're also available with Vicki's books, Phoenix Rising in Langley, and Harmony Gold in New Westminster.
Right, right. So I want to give you all a very special gift, and that is if you take a print of your dominant hand, which is your writing hand, and send it to me, I will send you 3 aspects about your palm. Okay, so free gift for you. And here's my card. There's some more over there. And on the back are the 3 places where I work as well. Okay? So
you mean just a photograph?
That's right, just a photograph. That's right. And send it to me by email.
Put on the scanner and
What? No, you can do whatever you want to do, just so I get a print.
Yeah, you can get your hand wet too, put on a piece of paper, or, you know.
Well, it's actually printing ink.
Printing ink?
Yeah.
That takes a while to get.
Lock print. No, it's washable. Yeah. I have lots of prints. I have many prints of people's palms.
Okay,
Yeah.
very cool.
And I use that for teaching.
It's like fingerprinting.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
All right, let's talk about fingerprinting. Some of you may have heard of Richard Unger. He's also a palmist. And this is actually his book that he signed for me. So we know each other, but totally different approach. So what he's doing is focusing on the parts of the palm that don't change, which is your fingerprints and the shape of your palm.
So all the other lines do change throughout your life?
That's right. And your health, too. So when you're thinking or your health changes, then the lines change. It's not a fated, destined thing. It's a moving picture. So, very interesting. Now, just a few things about palmistry, so we're all on the same page here. So here are the major lines. The one that curves around your thumb, this is your lifeline. The one that's up above that is your headline. And here on the top one is your heart line. Okay, and then we have a line that comes down from your middle finger. This is your fate line that has to do with work and money. And then over here, down from your little finger, is your health line. So there's a number of lines that have to do with creativity here. And then also this area here, which is the psychic, spiritual area. So,
I think mine's blank.
oh no, I don't think so. Now, palmistry is very much linked to astronomy and astrology. So here is a very simple chart that shows you the different fingers. So here we have Jupiter, Saturn, Sun, Mercury, and here is Venus, the mound of Venus, and over here the mound of the moon. So you see there's a lot of astrology there. And as a matter of fact, one of the customers I had said, why don't you write a book with your prints and charts, you know, and compare them. But anyway, later.
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
Have you ever heard of Edgar Casey talking about your past lives and so on, and the different dimensions of different planets and so on? And can you actually see that on your hand as well?
Past life? Is that what you're asking?
Possibly, I guess. but there seems to be a connection there too.
Yeah. Yeah. Past lives, yes. That can be through your other hand, not your dominant hand.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we were going to, and this is also probably what you're doing next, because I remember you were telling me this about the rings you wear and so on different.
That's right. Yeah, of course. Well, if you wear rings on certain fingers, it means you're thinking of that area of your life, okay? So this is a common one. This is kind of our ring finger, isn't it? So it has to do with creativity. Okay, you can see here the sun, it says ambition, creativity, and success. Okay? Please, come on in, join us. Come in. Okay, now the third one. This may be of interest to you. This is what I use for compatibility readings. So couples come to me and want to know if they are compatible. Now, of course, it's not yes or no. It's complicated, but at least we can see the differences and similarities. Sometimes differences are great. Okay? So they're more aware, anyway, of what some of the challenges might be, or whether this is going to work at all. So anyway, I just wanted to show you that. Okay, now I want to move on and talk more about mediumship and how to develop that. Because learning palmistry is very useful, but it's not easy. And really, as I said, my emphasis at this point is to help people to develop psychically and through mediumship. Now, first of all, I want you to look at this word, enlightenment. Enlightenment. What's in the middle of this word? Light. Light, you see? And I think that is what happens, that as you develop, and I think that many people during this decade, or at least this century, will develop enlightenment, is that your body is lighter. Okay? That you become lighter. And I have to say, if there's a lot of spirit energy around, I find that I almost feel dizzy, and that the front of my head feels very light. Okay? So I think that this is an important focus, if you will.
It buzzes a bit.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I've noticed that too.
Yeah. So anyway, the other thing that I can tell you about mediumship is that when you first start to see things, it's often in your peripheral vision. This is the peripheral vision out here. And why is that? Well, because our straight ahead vision, we've trained to read and write. You see? We've trained it in a rational way. But we haven't trained the peripheral vision. So you may see shadows or some kind of movement there. Don't turn your head.
I know you can't see it, but I've seen that from that.
Because then you're looking at straight ahead vision, do you see? So it is really important just to leave your head there and experience it. Now, can you make this happen? Probably not. I mean, these experiences come in their own time. They are, but there are things that you can foster, or you can develop it. And another tip that I can give you is the timing of this, because often the early morning hours are clearer to do this.
Just when you're waking up, or does it matter if you're up or not?
Yes, I'm talking very early. I'm talking 3 a.m.
Yeah, often if you can't sleep at 3 a.m. and you're up anyway.
That's right.
So you just get up, and that's
right.
when you,
That's
okay.
right. Now, why would that be? Why are those early hours? Well, the only reason I can think of is that all of our gadgets and all of our electricity is quiet at that time. So you have less interference. And so it's easier to get through, easier for the channels. And if you go to an ashram, they'll get you up at that time to start meditating. You see why? I think this is the reason. That it's just easier to get through to the spirits that be. Okay, now, what else I want to talk about is safety. Safety. very important, safety. Because thanks to Hollywood, we have all kinds of these evil spirits around, right? We don't really want to foster that. So what can we do?
Based on belief, you mean?
Well, I mean, I think they're out there, not in the form of Hollywood,
Okay.
but certainly malicious ones can be around. So how can you protect yourself? This is especially important for psychic children.
And this is because when you start opening your light a little more, that any kind of energies kind of pay attention to. You're like, I'm open, the light's on.
Yep, that's right.
You know, here I am. Otherwise, you know, you were not visible before.
That's right.
So as you open up.
That's right, exactly. So what you want to do is envision a circle of protection going around yourself. And actually, when I start to do readings, I put a circle of protection around both of us, okay? So that we are protected. And even if you're in a very good place, you know, that's clean and everything, it's still important to do this. And if you feel some kind of strange energy, it's just important to stop. You don't have to sit down even, but just stop, close your eyes, and think in this way.
Do you have an example of what you might feel with these strange energies?
It's hard to know. It may be someone tapping you. It may be a strange head feeling. It's hard to know for people what they might feel. But it is important to, especially if there's conflict around you or there's something that just doesn't feel right, it is important to do this. So I would like now to try to experience this, okay? So what I want you to do is just sit with your hands on your lap, either up or down, and we'll do a small exercise to practice the circle of protection. So first, I want you to think about the energy going around clockwise, going around your head and your body. Okay, now I want you to think that this is going to change, and now the energy is going counterclockwise. The energy is going around your body counterclockwise. Okay, let's come back now. Okay, now I want some feedback. Which was stronger, clockwise or counterclockwise? Counterclockwise, okay.
I got
Counterclockwise, yes.
I got colour pink when I was clockwise and colour black when I was anti-clockwise.
So probably the clockwise for you is better. How about it? Counterclockwise, interesting.
Yeah,
Counterclockwise, yeah?
I don't know if
Couldn't feel. Okay, that's all right, that's okay.
counter was more unorganized,
Okay, yes?
wouldn't flow in the circle as
Right.
well as
Yeah,
clockwise.
it was more like resistance. That's how I got more resistance. That way.
Okay,
Mhm.
yeah, counterclockwise.
Yeah, yeah.
Great. Well, I think that we are in the northern hemisphere. It's supposed to be clockwise. You see? Even the drain, the water going down the drain,
Yeah.
or the currents in the ocean, you
It's
see?
more natural.
But
Yeah.
maybe we who are seeing, also me, who find counterclockwise more stronger, maybe we should be in the southern hemisphere. We have to move to Australia.
Yes.
I could see kind of like swirling energy, but they were, you know how you're focusing in a camera?
Yes.
And there's a split focus, but it was this way, and it was not, it was going like this.
So both of them.
Yeah, there was, but they weren't balancing, they were just both. That's what I could see, and
Right.
sort of feel, and I felt that.
Well, I would think with that situation that it's important to practice,
Okay.
yeah, so that it can be one or the other, because it's probably not a protection that way.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's out of balance.
Yeah. Okay, now, you may think that this is kind of a foolish thing. How can this be a protection? But I've seen it happen many times. You know, when I was in Japan, there are some shrines and temples with, well, especially the shrines, with very strong energy, you know, and sometimes I would pick up something, and if I just stopped and did this circle of protection, it was gone. Yeah. So it does work. If you find something else, great, wonderful. You know, that's whatever. You may say a prayer, you know, and certainly I don't distinguish between spiritual and psychic. Okay, I don't distinguish, so certainly you can have any type of religious background, and that can be your protection as well.
It's intention.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right, exactly. So safety is really important. Now, I want to talk a minute about healing. You may think that healing and palmistry are different. It's still the hands. It's still the hands. And you have so much power in your hands. You really do. It's very strong, and everyone can do that. So the type of healing that's practiced, really what the teacher does is to open up your channels that are already there. Okay? So that's how you can also develop healing. And let's practice a little bit with this so I can show you the power of your hands. I want you to rub your hands together really strongly. Really, that's right. That's right. Okay, now stop and put your hands just a little apart. Can you feel the heat there? Can you feel it? Now put them farther apart. You still feel the heat? If not, put them back together again.
Mine's always a bit cool. The energy with my hand is like a cool wind.
A cool wind. Okay, all right, interesting. Well,
I have to be this close to feel it.
Okay.
so you're not feeling anything?
I have to be this close to feel it.
Okay,
Yeah.
yes.
Mind you, it's cold in here, so.
Yes, yeah.
But yeah, I can feel the heat if I'm that close, but the minute I'm far, it's.
Okay, well, when you're developing healing, you know, you can have them quite far apart. And actually, when I do distant healing, if I have my hand up like this, it's very hot. You see? So it's opening those channels. Basically, it's energy that comes in through your body and out your hands. It comes from a higher source and through you and out. So that's now, here's another thing that we can practice so that you can see this, and that is taking your hand and tapping certain points on your body. So let's try the third eye. Let's try the third eye. And let's try the top here. Yeah.
Is that like knocking at the door?
Well,
you open?
no, I'll tell you in a minute. Now, we're going to go down here. This is not actually a chakra, and I want you to tap here. So this one in particular will give you a temporary well-being feeling. Okay? Why is that? Because under here is the thymus gland. And we just found out really in the last, 30 years or something, what this does. Because before that, doctors found out about physiology by taking apart cadavers. Okay? But now that we have CAT scans and things like that, we know that this thymus gland, when we have a feeling of well-being, will swell up. And when we're intense or tight, you see, or there's something wrong, it will shrivel up. So of course, when you're looking at a cadaver, it's always going to be shriveled up, right? But to tap this is, so let's say you're going to have some kind of something that's difficult for you to do, or some presentation or something.
You've been doing this earlier?
This is a way to temporarily feel better. Now, I want you to notice this too. Tarzan, or men going into battle. They're tapping this, you see? Okay? So this is a very important part, and we're using our hands again.
So you don't call it a chakra? I've heard that there is a chakra there
I
between
think
the
this
heart
is the neck chakra, I think, is up higher.
blue and then green and then the goddess right here.
Okay,
the
maybe,
top
okay.
one.
Isn't it similar to EFT?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that's what
Emotional
we do.
freedom technique. That's a technique that that is used medically, actually. And I've experienced it as well, and it actually works. It releases emotions.
Great. So anyway, I have some questions, and I'd like to ask you, I'm sorry, I don't know all the answers, but let's talk about these things, okay? So the first one is, what are these people doing on the other side?
Oh, what's it like?
What are they doing? Yeah, what do we know about it? Now, I'm telling you that again, we've just really found out in the last, 40 years, because we have people who've been declared dead and brought back by modern medicine. So they have these near-death experiences, you see?
I love listening to those and hearing those. Those are amazing.
They are quite similar.
Ernest Hemingway wrote about his, but he didn't get far, but he wrote about an out-of-body experience.
Yes?
When he
Yeah.
was dying. It's very well documented.
Well, anyway, there's a number of
talking
books.
about, yeah.
There's a number of books about this. So that's the experience of someone who's just passed over, okay? But there's all these people who are there permanently. What are they doing? What are they doing?
I've heard they're in university planning for the next life. That's what my understanding is.
Okay, all
I mean, they're
right.
in transition, you mean? They haven't moved on to another plane?
Well, yes, that's one thing that they're doing, is going to a different dimension or plane.
Yeah. But there's, in between, they haven't really moved on totally?
Some of them, yes.
What do you do?
What are they doing? The people who have died, what are they doing? The spirits.
Well,
they're
what do you
working.
think they're doing?
What do I think?
Yeah.
Well, okay, good. I ask every time. And it's all different. It's quite interesting, actually, because I'm very curious about what it's like. They're not just sitting on clouds, you know? So some of them have been assigned to help us on Earth. And so they stay nearby. And for example, my father was a prisoner of war, and now that he's on the other side, he's helping prisoners. That's his job, you see? So he often comes through when there's a medium, performing. He often comes through because he's right here. And he's used to communicating with people. So that's one thing. There's a number of people who are helping those who pass over quickly, and they don't know where they are, especially children. And unfortunately, we have so many wars and problems now that's a fair big group.
Like a violent death that we were
Yes, that's right.
expecting.
Yeah, something or war or something along that line.
So they help us to help
Yeah.
you transit further on.
There's people who've gone to other galaxies. You see, they're somewhere where there's other humans, but they're certainly not here. I can't get a direct message from them. It's only indirect. So there's many things, and if you have some knowledge, please pass it on, because I'd like to know too. There's so many different situations.
So how do you differentiate them from ghosts? So ghosts, what are they? They're stuck in between, are they not?
They could be, yes. They could be kind of not able to truly pass over, yes. Then there's people who have been violent, okay? And when they pass over, it's almost, I'm sorry to use this term, but it's almost like being in purgatory for a while.
Right.
It's like they have to rest, their spirit has to rest and kind of recover and figure out how they're going to kind of remedy the situation that they're in. But it's almost like we can't contact them at all. You see, for a while at least. It's like they're sleeping or something along that line. So you're shaking your head. Do you have some knowledge what they're doing?
Well, my ex-husband passed, and to choices of his lifestyle, they had to come down again and take him the rest of the way, just because his own physical body was so deteriorated by the way he was living. He couldn't do it on his own. And then, yes, he almost went into like a silence.
Okay.
Like an inventory
Yeah.
of his own life.
Yeah.
To see exactly what he could have improved on and did it serve to his highest good. And I find a lot of times there's end up with a lot of children around. So I gather them. And then I send them all together. Usually, I never usually get more than 6 at a time. I don't let it get bigger. And then I send them across. And I usually get Archangel Azrael to help me take
Good. Yeah.
up back home. So, yeah.
Great. So that's another group, you see, of children who are just kind of lost. They don't know where they are or what to do or anything like that. They have no experience with people who have died.
Does it have anything to do with karma?
Yeah, well, yes, those are the
Or is it-
people, yes. Yes, definitely. As far as what happens to them and what they are given to do once they get to this other side. Yeah. So, okay, another question. Why do some spirits stay near Earth and others go elsewhere?
I'm talking about on the astral plane.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's when we were talking about
Right,
that
yeah.
they're not quite ready to
They're
go, or
in
they're
turn.
lost, or they're confused, or...
Yeah, they
Yeah.
could be like helpers.
There you
They
go.
address us.
That's right.
Well,
Okay,
you
the
have to
helpers are
actually
there
go
too.
back, like, to God before they come back
Yes.
as the assigned.
That's right. That's right.
That they're taught, you were talking about gathering children that, or souls that have not gone to the light yet.
Yeah.
So that's really good work. I have heard of that a lot. And it's good work.
Oh, that's great. Okay, now, with spirit guides, do you have the same spirit guides all your life? Or-
Yes, I think you can.
Or are they relatives or friends? Or are they higher beings?
And I think you're given one.
You give him one, she
Yeah.
said.
All of the
Okay.
above.
Yeah.
Only given
Throughout your life, yeah.
one.
One, you're saying one throughout your life.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do.
I've heard that a lot.
Uh-huh. What about some of the others? What do you think?
I think depending on what you're learning, like your lessons or, you know,
Yes,
that,
yes.
Once they've done their job and you've kind of moved on into something different
Right?
learning,
Yes.
you'll get a different guide.
Okay,
That's,
good.
I think that's mine.
Okay, that's a
Yeah,
good
that's
answer
right.
too.
They're definitely special.
Yes, they are. Yes,
Definitely special.
yeah,
On a
definitely.
different level.
Now, has anyone else experienced a spirit guide? Yeah. Yes? Are you shaking your head yes?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What made you think the spirit guide was there?
Just I seem to have either really good luck or something when things almost kill me or whatever.
Okay.
You're working all the time.
I've had things happen where I don't see it, but people right beside me do, or when I'm
Okay.
home just when I leave.
Right.
So I don't know
So it's like a
what to do.
protection.
It's-
Yeah, there's whole books written on these angels. You know, they call them angels who rescue people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a phenomenon I love to hear about. Things like that.
Yeah.
You know, that there's help when you need it. You know, you're in a car accident and then there's somebody appears out of nowhere and helps you out of the car and then they're gone and no, you know, I have to believe that that's an angel. I have to.
Oh, yeah.
Well, it's like instinct. Something tells you, no, don't turn right, turn left. Sometimes when I'm like
Okay,
that,
good,
with a dog,
good,
I'll
yes.
think, no, I'm not turning that way, so I'm turning this way. And it's maybe a reason. I follow it though.
Good? Yeah.
Because they're giving you little tips all the time.
Okay, well, this is another tip that I have about psychic development, and that is that it's really a development of your right brain, and it's a different way of thinking. It's not a rational way of thinking, and it's often the first thought that occurs to you, the first thing that occurs. And we've been told, oh, don't believe that, plan ahead, you know, it's just your wishful thinking and all of these types of things, you see? But if you start to follow that hunch, and it works, then you're going to follow it more, aren't you? So it is a really different way of thinking to develop your psychic ability.
But don't they say that your left brain is the analytical brain mostly?
That's right.
Men mostly.
That's
and
right.
then right brain is more emotional, heartfelt. side of
And
the brain.
the intuition.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. So it's the opposite, you see, the brain to the opposite side of your body.
I often feel in my gut, I just get that feeling like, ooh, you know, it's so my gut's psychic.
Okay.
It's
You know,
your
yeah.
second brain, right? or
It's my,
something.
yeah,
Yes.
it's my intuition in my
Yeah.
gut. I have bad feelings or I have good feelings. It's like, okay, you get butterflies, you get, you know, everything down there. But I also know when my grandmother's around because I can smell her perfume.
Good.
Whenever
Great.
I smell
Great.
white shoulders, that's
Yeah, that's great. I'm happy to hear this because when my grandfather was around, I could smell his shaving lotion.
yeah.
And it was very unique, you know.
Yeah.
It was something that no one wore except for him. So I knew that he was around. Okay, that brings up a very good point, and that is ask for a sign from these people who have passed over. So ask them to give you a sign that they are there. Is it going to be a smell? Is it going to be a tapping? Is it going to be a wind that comes past your face? I have a friend who, when her good friend is around, who's passed over, a picture falls off the wall.
Wow.
That's a little extreme, but do you see that's her sign? So fortunately, there's no glass.
Yeah.
But do you see, if you ask that and also ask that person to be there, okay, and to communicate with you. Because here's something that I know, and I'm sure of this. They cannot communicate with us unless we ask them
That's
to.
right. That's right.
They must have our permission. And I think there's actually some kind of recourse if they do that. If they communicate without our permission. And thank goodness we don't want these spirits bombarding us all the time, you see. So it is a good
But your
thing.
guide, your guardian angel can do that, I think, at any time.
But you've asked that.
You've asked them, well, they're
Yeah,
there.
open to begin with them.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I've been in a bookstore and I'm like, I'm like, oh, you know, when you're in that self-help and you really want to read, you know, what you can look for, what you can find, and you're hungry for all that, then you know, you can be, I personally have been in a bookstore where I'm like, what book? And one actually falls off the shelf.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, that book.
But what we're talking about really is a sign from the spirits.
Yeah.
Well, I thought that one was.
Oh, yeah? Could be, yes.
Well, apparently, a special angel, guardian angel, or helpers, they send you little tests that sort of teach you awareness and to be to ask, as you just say, and they'll sometimes when you're in the middle of writing something and they want to just put your pen down. I don't want to put my pen down. I'll do it because they want me to listen, to be aware, to
Oh, I
attach
see.
myself
Okay, good.
to the energy that's coming. And I do put the pen down and I pick it back up again. So I think it was my angel telling me, be aware.
Yeah.
I'm here. Ask me things and follow my instructions.
Yeah. There's many writers, I think, who are inspired, you know, and there's actually a mark on your hand. It's called the Ring of Solomon. And it's a mark that goes around your Jupiter finger.
Is this on your right hand or right?
Well, usually it's the right that you're more aware of. So if you have that, this is people who are very,
What does it look like?
yeah, there it is.
That's this Jupiter?
Yeah,
Your
this is
index
Jupiter.
finger, sir?
Okay, your index finger.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, your index finger.
yeah, that's
So anyway, those are people who, it's right here.
Your
under
number
this
one
finger.
finger.
Yeah. So it's people who have inspiration, who are given things from the spirit world and can put it into concrete form. So I think it's called the Ring of Solomon because King Solomon was a very wise king. He helped his people, and maybe he had this inspiration from the spirit world. Who knows? But I've seen people in all walks of life who have this. And as I said, with Richard Unger here, he's dealing with the fingerprint, and the hand shape.
Handshake. Now you talked to me about that.
Yeah.
That
So
was interesting. And finger shapes.
yes, that's right. Yes, especially the ends of your fingers, and what that looks like. Yeah, the ends of your fingers. So
The shape, not the fingerprint.
yeah. So for example, with the end,
Mine
the
flare
end of your
Right.
finger here, you see how it tapers up like this?
Mine's
Yeah. So with her hand, she has a different finger end on this ring finger, and look how long this finger is. You see, it's longer than her index finger. So this is very important. This has
Now,
to,
but this is long enough.
this, both ends. So and you've got these lines under it too, so very creative. Very creative is what it says. So that has to do with that. And I see a number of people who have the top of their fingers that bulge out at the top.
Yeah, you were saying that about mine.
Yes, this one.
Yeah,
There. Yeah,
and this is shorter than
that's
over
right.
there.
That's
This
right.
is the same size,
Yeah,
and this one is taller.
that's right. So anyway, if it bulges out at the top, this is called a spatula finger. And people who have that mark want to do something new and different. They're never satisfied with what they have. They want to always be doing something different. And that success to them is being recognized for something unique in their lives, you see?
Gotta keep doing something.
So then there's also a square finger, very square finger. People who have a square palm, that means the palm itself is square and the fingers are short. This does not mean that they are doing manual work. It means they use their hands for a living, okay? So, for example, a surgeon will have a hand like that, you see? So it has to do, it's again across all kinds of different.
Did you bring samples of square hands and that? Because
No, I
nobody's.
You can't tell, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't bring that. There's only so much I could bring.
But again, she said if you give her a print, she will, give you
Yes,
some aspects.
absolutely,
Of your document.
and please take my card, which gives you the email address, and send it to me. Please put this workshop, so I know who you are, and I will send you a number of aspects about your palm. Okay, free, complimentary. Yeah, do you have a question?
I did, and I want to go back to, you were saying how the lines on our hands change.
Yes, that's
Now,
right.
is that in a cycle of years, or is that just as we age? What is the contribution to that, the lines changing?
Good, very good question. So it depends on your thinking, okay? So when your thinking changes, then the lines will change, and it can be very quickly. It can be within a few months. I had an uncle, here's a great story. I had an uncle who had a split in his lifeline, okay? So there's one line that went down and then another one. And so he had this split in his lifeline, which means that he's going to change his lifestyle, maybe move to another place, you see? So he got to that point, and he was an architect. And so his partnership with the other architect was in trouble, and so was his marriage. And so he was, and also he bought a red sports car. So it was like a second childhood, okay? All right, so he decided he didn't want to do this, okay? So he got help with his marriage, and it continued. He went on with the architecture business without the partner, and he sold the sports car. And that split disappeared. Now that's a major line. Your lifeline is a major line. And it was really his decision. Okay? Nobody else. He decided that he didn't want to go in that direction. So, you see, they can change. And I think that's very promising, really, that you can change your fate.
Yeah, you don't want to feel doomed until you have a
That's
very
right.
good hand.
That's right, exactly, that you can change it. Now, I have to tell you very honestly that some people are just on a certain path, and they're probably not going to change. But I can still encourage them. Is there a volunteer?
Do we want to look at one aspect?
Okay,
of
there we go.
everybody?
One aspect, okay.
Does that sound good?
Well, this is actually a great hand for psychic development, because you have all of these lines that are going into the mound of the moon. Now, a lot of people, by the way, don't have that much in the way of this area here, but if you crease the hand, you can see that there are lines that are going down there. Those are changing lines. Maybe they get darker, maybe they don't. It's really your choice whether you want to develop that more. But a lot of people, if you crease their hand, you can start to see lines that are in that area. Okay, so here, you've got all of this already here, and it's coming down from your headline as well. So the main thing about a hand like this is that it's good for travel, okay? It's good for travel, and that you can learn through travel. So if you wish to develop psychically, going someplace, it doesn't have to be that far away, but just going someplace and learning directly from different people will help you a lot. You've also got some great friends. See, here's your friends in this part of your life. So very deep and close friends. That's great. You can't find good friendships.
That's true.
Yeah, so you're very lucky. Now, are you right-handed? Okay, yeah, good. All right, now, look at this headline. You see how it goes clear down here? So one of the things I would say about that is that the strongest line on your hand is your heart line. That's this line here. Okay? So following your hutches, following your gut level feeling, you see? This is great.
Gets you into trouble.
No, not really. I wouldn't say that. I would say that what happens with your headline, with your head, is that you get too many alternatives, too many choices, or you ask the opinion of too many people, and it just gets confusing. You see? So if you cut to the chase and follow what your gut is telling you, it's really better. It really is. Now, as far as work goes here, in this hand, there is a change of work here. Yeah. And so again, it's your choice whether you want to make that change. But anyway, it's for the better. It really is. It may be the same type of work, but either working in a different location or a different company or something along this line. And as I say, much for the better. So you're right-handed?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, now here's a man's hand with lines that are developing. Okay? So you see if we hold your hand flat, this line ends here. Okay? But we crease it, and here it is. Many lines that are going down here into the mound of the moon. So that is an area that you can develop. Now, that doesn't mean just psychically. It can be spiritually as well, but it is the right brain. Okay, so it's a different part of your brain that you're developing, and what form it takes and how you can develop it. One of the things for you is just to be active. So to do things that are active and to be around people who are spiritually or psychically developed. Sometimes it's almost like, it's hard to know how to explain this. But especially around people who are highly spiritual, it's like you pick it up or something, it's the psychic energy or something that's between you. So that would be one way. Now, I've seen a hand very similar to this, by the way, on a fisherman. And both he and his crew saw a ghost ship. Okay? So, and then it disappeared. So it was out in the fog. They were out fishing. So
I would see was very aware.
Yeah.
Spiritual. He was very deep spiritual.
Good, wonderful. Great, that's wonderful. Now, here's something as an advice I'll give you though, and that is when you start to develop psychically or spiritually, you experience these things. Okay? If nothing else, just euphoria. Okay? Don't get caught up in that. Okay? Because then you don't develop farther. You're stuck in that great feeling. Okay? So it's fine to experience it, but you want to go on, and get to a higher place too. Are you right-handed? Oh, great. Okay, well, look at your fate line here. Here's where you are now, and then look what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
That's a huge career and very successful. Yeah. Yeah. So you can use the experience that you have, but I think there's some kind of some training or something that you need as well in order to get into this. But as I said, it's going to be really successful. And this is good for you because you're a person who wants to be active and who wants to be successfully, particularly financially.
Yeah.
You see? So it's there. It's right there. It's just a matter of being persistent. You may have already ideas about what you want to do with that. So go for it.
All right.
Okay?
Awesome.
Yeah. Health-wise, you're in good health now, but please be careful of your diet.
Okay.
All right? That's really important because there is a time here, you see on your lifeline, that's faint. And so, mind you, you're in your 80s there. But you're not a person who wants to be sick anyway, you know? If someone would say, look, you've got to slow down or you won't live as long, you'd probably say, I don't care.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay, so anyway, just go for it. That's what I was saying. What shows up here, do you have a sister? Yeah. Now, the sister is quite different, though, from you. And yet, most of the time, you do get along. You know, it's just that there's times where there's going to be misunderstandings there. And I'm saying that, misunderstandings, okay, on both your parts. So it is important to see that, and that this is actually someone who's been with you in another lifetime. And so it might be interesting to explore that, not for her per se, but certainly for you, and to see what's unfinished business here.
She's my mother.
Okay.
Because she's not my blood sister.
Okay,
She's
interesting.
on her adopted sister.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, anyway, what I'm saying is that there is that contact, though, and it is important. Because what happens if there's unfinished business and it's not resolved, well, first of all, here comes another similar situation for you to resolve. And if you don't in this lifetime, next lifetime. So it is really important.
That'll be easy then. Well, I have to deal with that in my next freeze.
Okay,
Seriously.
good.
Thank you.
Okay, now with you here, this is pretty good health that you've got here, but there's a little bit with internal organs here that are not quite right, and so it is really important to find out what that is. Do you know already?
I kind of have an idea, yeah. So I've been doing some like cell cleaning.
Good, yeah, okay.
Through meditation and things.
Okay, but also just a cleansing diet, say once a year or something like that, to really get that sorted out. Because at this point it's mostly digestion, but you don't want it to go into the internal organs because then you've got big problems there. Okay, good. Okay, well, one of the things that's really central in your hand is your independence. Independence is really important to you, and of course that has to do with relationships as well as your future direction, things like that too. So it's important to have your own friends and your own direction and things like that with a partnership, and that once you have that kind of understanding that there's spaces in togetherness.
Yeah. There's an old saying I really like. It's a good relationship has the wind between them.
Oh, good. Okay. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. But in particular because of independence here, it has been so important to you ever since you were a small child. Okay? It really has. It's always been there. I'm sorry, but I'm glad that I wasn't your mother. This is very
You know my mom.
I'll be telling Judy all about it.
So, it's just a challenge, if you will, to have a child like this. Okay, so anyway, I think that the friendships that you are making, the friendships that you are making at this time in your life will be lasting friendships. So all through your later years. And one of the things that I see is the possibility of you living in a great community.
I do live in Brooklyn.
Oh, already?
Yeah.
Oh, great.
I love it here.
Oh, yes, but I'm talking about like a good neighborhood with all the neighbors who know each other and help each other, have block parties and things like this.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so, and I don't know if it's a gated community, I have no idea, but it is really somehow enclosed.
Okay.
Yeah, and really different ages. I'm not talking about a senior's home.
Thank God.
Or jail.
Not wearing an orange jumpsuit.
Okay, so anyway, that's certainly a help for you.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. That's funny.
Okay, so do we have any last questions before you want to stop for today?
I always wear a ring on this finger if I can.
Okay.
I don't during the day, but as I'm working, I don't wear the rings on the fingers so much. But or maybe a smaller one. But there's a meaning beside where you wear your rings.
Yes, yes. And actually, this is a very good point because this is something that you can see about almost anyone, right? You're just looking at their hands. You're not looking at their palms. So one of the courses
on that finger too.
Yeah, one of the courses that I've taught before is what you can tell from a person's hand without ever looking at the palms. And it's so useful for anyone who works with people because you can tell a lot just by looking at the shape of their hands. And what I do to teach this is to use the hands of famous people. You see, because they're
We have to
waving.
do the rings.
Okay, just a minute, I'll get to it. So this is one thing that you can tell, the length of the fingers, the shape of the hand, and it's quite interesting because with these famous people, you learn new things about them, by just looking at the shape and where the rings are. So this finger is a finger of Jupiter, and people who are wearing rings there, they want to be outgoing. This is your finger of Saturn. Saturn, and has to do with money, jobs, responsibility. Okay? And on both hands, really. This other hand that you're not using as much is your family.
Responsibility family, yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
So
All
the
right.
left hand or?
Well, it depends if you're right or left-handed.
Right, the one that you don't use. Okay.
That's
That
right.
makes sense.
Now, this is the most common finger. This is the sun finger. And this has to do with your creativity. Your creativity and what you want to do with your creativity.
Sorry, which finger is that?
This is the sun
Oh,
finger.
the sun.
Yeah. And this one, on the other hand, is your finger of creativity, but it's also your family finger. So of course, we wear a wedding ring there, you see? Because it's your family creativity. You've created a family. The little finger, Mercury finger, this has to do with communication. Now, if you go to buy a car and you have a salesman who has a big ring on this finger and also a curved finger, don't buy a car.
What is curved?
Well, there's different things, okay? It has to do with where it's curving. So in your case, it's curving towards your creativity, okay? And it's short.
Yeah.
So what that means is that people can misunderstand you. You see? And you think you're being clear, right? But people will misunderstand. So you just have to work it out with them. It probably comes from an early childhood shyness.
Yes. Oh, very much so.
Yeah. So that's the origin of it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter where it starts. You just have to deal with it now, you see. Yeah, so curving, it depends on where it's curving. Is it going this way or this way? This is all, you see how complicated it can be? And we haven't really gotten into all of the lines. Now, there's a question that no one has asked me, and it's often the most...
And you need to tell it, so.
It's the most common one. I have a star here. What does that mean?
Where's the star? I think it's...
Well, no. The problem is that it's never in isolation. It's always linked to whatever is around it. And sometimes it's just a convergence of lines and not really a star. So, I'm sorry. By itself, it means nothing. It depends on where it is. There's also a psychic cross. Two lines that cross like this. But again, it's often not in isolation. And so if you look at a palmistry book, you're going to see all these special marks that almost no one has. Yeah. So anyway, that's yeah.
Well, that's fantastic. I'm just going to say thank you so much.
And I want to thank Lynda. I think she's been a fantastic hostess. And you know what? I think I'm going to start coming every month and join you people in the audience. This is just a great group.
It's a group event. We need to all, I put on these events because everybody is kind of awakening, but the conversations need to be had. And it is fabulous when we have audience sharing, and that's what I did. That's a successful community that I really enjoy and I'm grateful for.
Anyway, let's give Lynda a good hand.